Okay, so here I am again with another unboxing video. I'm a little bit late to the party with this one, so I was thinking, how can I do the unboxing of the PlayStation when there's probably been like tens of thousands of unboxings on YouTube? So I thought I would just share my memories of when the PlayStation was released all those years ago. Back then, there was no EB Games. There was all of the independent owned stores, and I remember when the Xbox came out, I first saw it at the Toys R Us, and just looking at it behind the glass screen, looking at the playable, the demo disc of what games were available at that time. But the price tag was like, I think it was like $799, which was way out of my price range. And I would go there every now and again just to look at the demos, and eventually I just kept waiting until it come down in price and got one. With the original Xbox, Sony did not know what category to put this system in, believe it or not. I mean, they had categories for all of their TV, stereos, all of that sort of stuff, but they didn't know what category to put this in. So I was told by one of the independent shop owners that it was put in the category of batteries, believe it or not. I think that is a true story. One really cool thing that Sony did back then was they took the PlayStation, a display unit, to nightclubs here in Australia, to show people how cool video games were, because back then video games were still looked as kind of frowned on. Only nerds played video games, and by taking it into the nightclubs, it gave it a lot of exposure, and it seemed, and people thought it was really hip and cool, and it kind of helps video games become more popular over that course of time. And of course we know that PlayStation was very, very easy to mod and play, burnt copies of games and stuff like that. I've held off getting this thing for a while because I was excited when it was first announced, but the lack of games that they announced kind of sent warning bells to me, because it doesn't have Tomb Raider, it doesn't have a few other games. It does have Metal Gear Solid on here. That's really cool. But there were, we all have our own personal favorite games of this system, and what I might like, you may not like. But one thing that was discovered when somebody bought it, they saw inside the system, all of these titles, and it's very easy to put a USB stick in and play whatever games you want. And that's pretty much what it was like back then with the original PlayStation. You could mod it pretty easily. You could burn your copies of games and play it. So yeah, I don't think Sony really did anything to try and stop that, as far as I remember back then. They were getting sales from consoles, so they weren't really developing their own first party titles back then, I don't think. So I don't think they really cared that much. So that's some of my thoughts on my memories on the PlayStation when it was released all those years ago. For a little system, this thing weighs a bit. Oh man, I don't have the original PlayStation anymore. I got rid of that years ago. I had mine was modded, and I remember playing games with any full motion video. You have to, some of the laser discs, the laser lenses would skip, and the only way you could play full motion video on games was by turning the PlayStation upside down. Man, this thing is so small. Look, a lot of people were disappointed with this, but like I said, since you're able to pretty much put whatever you want onto a USB stick and play, it's worked out really well, I think, in the end. I picked up something off eBay, a USB stick with a lot of games on it, thanks to player Paker for doing a video on that and giving me a link to eBay to to find a guy selling USB sticks with a lot of great games on it. But man, this thing is so small. This is so tiny. Brings back a lot of memories. The PlayStation was a great system back then. It really was. I had so much fun back then playing that thing. And man, how do you open this thing up? It should be man, this is so retro. Believe it or not, this is so retro. Looking at this old controller, oh my god. I remember playing Metal Gear Solid and Psycho Mantis. I don't know if this was not the Rumble Pack though. That one had the I think had the analog sticks, but I do remember that one when Psycho Mantis told you to put the controller down. He uses his psychic powers to make the controller move. That was so cool. So okay, it comes with a USB cable, the HDMI cable. So I guess I can put it into any sort of power outlet that does USB, I hope. But this is just crazy, just looking back on these controllers. I mean, there was many hours I would play Tomb Raider on this controller with bruised thumbs, and it was crazy. But so this is the unboxing of the PlayStation. It does bring back a lot of great memories. It was a cool system. Sony's gone to do bigger and better things since then, but you know, will we see the PS2 next? If we do, I hope they will have a lot of great titles on it. And you know, I can't blame Sony too much for the games that were on this. You got to remember, a lot of the games that were released on this were third-party developed games. Some of those companies don't exist anymore, so maybe they couldn't get the rights to a lot of the games that I think we were hoping they were going to be on the system. But still, this is cool. I can't wait to try it out. Put in the USB stick, play Tomb Raider, and a whole heap of other great games. So hey guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon, guys. See you later. Bye.